Hey everybody, this is Jules and I am super excited like I am every single week about this week's video. Let's get started. This week's video is talking about how I cope with having anxiety and depression. Several years back, I was clinically diagnosed by a licensed professional with depression and anxiety. And at that time, I chose not to use medication because a lot of them had really weird side effects, and I just felt weird about something other than a multivitamin having to be taken every single day for a really long period of time. So I've kind of gone through an experimental phase of trying other ways to manage my anxiety and depression, and I'm going to share those things with you guys today. Before I get started in the video, I just want to say that I am not a licensed professional. I'm just simply someone who is going through it and has found ways that work for her to cope with it, and hopefully these ways can help someone else as well. There is nothing that irks me more than someone who is neither a licensed professional or someone who has struggled with anxiety or depression telling me how to fix my anxiety and depression. It's kind of like me not being a doctor telling a doctor how to perform an open heart surgery because I Googled some articles and saw some really cool memes on the internet. It's just, it doesn't make any sense, does it? Some simple ways that I deal with my anxiety and depression. I suffer from what you would recognize as panic attacks. So imagine you are a soda and someone shakes you up and the cap stays on and nobody opens you and there's no release for that, and you feel like that all of the time. That's kind of what anxiety feels like. Depression is, I guess you would best describe it as being sad for no reason. Depression and anxiety have kind of become socially cool to have. Like somebody will say, oh, I'm depressed, I have anxiety. When in actuality, what we need to understand is some things you should feel certain feelings about, and it does not mean you suffer from anxiety or depression. For example, if it's your first day starting a new job, you should feel a little bit nervous about that. That does not mean that you suffer from anxiety. If you were in a relationship with someone and they break up with you, you should feel sad about that. Depression and anxiety are having those extreme feelings when there's no reason to have them. It's just a random Tuesday and you're just out of sorts. The first way that I deal with my anxiety is I like to, something that has really kind of evened things out a little bit is taking a multivitamin and mineral supplement every single day. I can definitely tell the difference when I forget to take my multivitamin and mineral supplement. I can feel it coming. When I start to feel those feelings arise, I think back over the last few days and I'm like, yes, because I haven't taken my vitamin in like 2 days, so I probably need to get back on that. Vitamins are controversial because you have some people that are like, well, you get what you need in food every day, or you need to be careful because you don't know how much of what you actually need. I don't know, I'm not a licensed professional. I just know that for me personally, taking a multivitamin and mineral supplement every single day helps me stay balanced for the most part. I don't know if it's the vitamin D, I don't know if it's the B12, I don't know what it is, but for me it does help. Work with your healthcare provider to see if that's the best route for you to take. The next way that I handle my anxiety and depression is by drinking water. I don't know what happened, but several months ago, I was having a panic attack and something in me just said, hey, drink a glass of water. So I went and I got a bottle of water and I chugged it down and I felt better. For me, I know when I start to feel a little bit of panic, is that really panic or is that just my body's way of screaming, we need hydration? Sometimes drinking a cold Gatorade or Powerade will help as well. The next thing is, am I simply sleep deprived? When I start to feel panic, I think over, what was I doing last night? Was I up late working on something? Did I wake up really, really early? And instead of going back to sleep, did I just stay up? Like if I get off work, I know I do not need to collect go. I do not need to pass, go collect $200. I need to go straight to bed, and rest it out, or I need to just lay down and take a really long nap. I've taken like a 2-hour nap and woke up feeling refreshed. So I always just kind of check in with myself to see where I'm at on my sleep. Is it really panic, or am I slowly starting to turn into a zombie? The next way that I deal with anxiety and depression is prayer and meditation, or writing in my journal. My body will start to crave it if I haven't done so in a while. I believe in God. So for me, if I start to panic, one of the things that I think about is, when's the last time that I have just sat, turned off the TV, put my phone down, and just was quiet and prayed? Either just simply being thankful for what I have, or just venting all of my frustrations out. Or how many times have I sat and just not thought of anything and just cleared my mind? Another thing in that sector would be journaling and just brain dumping and pouring out everything that I'm feeling or frustrated about onto those journal pages, and I always feel better. Sometimes it's just like a quick 5 or 10 minutes. Sometimes it's a really long time. It just depends on what I'm feeling and what I'm needing at that moment. The next thing is having people that understand. It is super important to have a support system around you that you can reach out to and call, people that can just sit and listen to you cry, people that are not judgmental, people that just want to sit with you and listen to you and not try to bombard you with advice and what you should do and need to do, or try to fix you. They just want to simply sit there and be with you. And good friends like that are hard to come by, which leads me to my next and most important point. So my next and last and most important point is to make sure you have a licensed professional, a therapist that you can go to once a week, or every 2 weeks, or once a month, or whatever you can afford. Check in with your state and city programs to see what's available to you if you can't afford health insurance, or if you can't afford to see a doctor. There should be programs available in most places. Check with your job to see if there's a free number that you can call so that you can speak to someone. A lot of companies offer something called an employee assistance program, to where you can call and they'll direct you to somebody and give you a certain amount of free visits to speak with a licensed medical professional. If you have insurance with your company, check with it, see how much a copay is and how often you can see a therapist. There's something about having someone whose job it is to listen to you and to help you navigate through your feelings. Somebody that's not a friend, somebody that's unbiased, someone who does have your best interest at heart. It's their job to do it, so you're not bothering them by showing up for your appointment. And it has definitely been something that has changed my life. I'm definitely a different person from before I went to a therapist as opposed to now. So that is definitely something that I hope that everyone can invest in. I am so big on mental health care, but it is not funny. Suicide rates are on the rise. Mental health disorders, personality disorders are on the rise, and is not something that we can just simply ignore and say, you know, go do this, go do this, go do this. And yes, I'm sharing what works for me, but it's important that you figure out what's best for you. It's easy to tell somebody to go exercise and they'll feel fine, but there are some severe cases of depression where they can't even get out of bed. One of my favorite shows right now is Euphoria, starring Zendaya. I'm a huge fan of that show. And the last episode, I think it was episode 7, where the episode kind of describes what it's like when she is in a depressive episode, to where she can't get out of bed, to the point where at the end of the episode she is like in pain because her bladder is so full, and her mom has to help her and get her cleaned up and get her taken care of. For some people, depression is like a huge weight that is weighing them down. So I hope to stir up compassion for people who suffer from anxiety, depression, and various other mental health issues, so that we don't look at them and assume that they can just fix it by cheering up or by exercising, or what worked for me is just going to work for them too, because every single case is different. That's why it's important to see a doctor. That's why it's important to not Google stuff. You actually need to see a doctor to get someone to clinically tell you what's going on with you. Not everybody has to take medication, and if you are prescribed medication, please look into the side effects, how often you have to take it, how long will you be taking it, do you really need to be taking it? Because unfortunately there are some healthcare providers who just want to make some money off of you, so they're going to prescribe you some crap. This happened to me back when I was 18 or 19, I believe. A doctor prescribed me something, did not educate me on it whatsoever. I took it and didn't work for me. I didn't know, and I thought that there was no hope for me. Little did I know that that was just not for me, and I really didn't have to take it. And the only thing that I needed was to change up my diet a little bit, get some healthy habits, and get a doctor. And that was several years later when I realized that. With that being said, I'm going to end this week's video. I'm also going to include the video to the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. These people can give you some resources on where you can go and who you can talk to manage your mental health. And as for this week's video, I'm done. I'm gonna go eat some hot dogs because for some random reason I just wanted hot dogs today with like mustard on a bun. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye.